Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to make these beautiful paper roses. I'm going to show you the inspiration for my roses and how actually I've hidden my paper roses in my beautiful rose bush that's the same colour as this one in the garden, and nobody knew which one it was. So this is the crepe paper that I have bought for these flowers, and it is the Clairefontaine brand. I'm going to pop it up on the screen for you. I bought it from Amazon, so you'll be able to buy it if you want to get this one. It's a good quality paper. It's got a lot of stretch in it. It says on the front of the pack that it's got a 250% stretch, so that'll be really good. I did buy some cheap stuff from B&M, and to be honest it wasn't really up to much. It didn't stretch enough for what we needed it to do, so it'll be interesting to see how this stuff works, but it looks really good quality. It looks really thick, so let's get on and see how we get on with it. In order to make our petals we need some templates, and I have made my own templates just here from some scraps of card that I've used previously in other projects, and I've taken inspiration from my rose in the garden, and I've actually taken off some of the petals and traced around them on the card, and then I've cut them out. These are actually a little bit smaller than these ones, but this was the size of the ones that I was looking at the other day when I was doing it. So I've got a large one from the outer edge of the flower, a medium one, and then the smaller one. So you can see the shape of the petal here. And that's the effect that we're going to create ourselves by manipulating and stretching the paper. As you can see, my rose is absolutely beautiful this year. This rose was bought for £1, can you believe? And it's about 15 years old. In fact, it might even be older than that. And I bought it with us when we moved to this house from our other house. It's absolutely gorgeous. It smells amazing. The name of this rose is Arthur Bell, so if you're interested in getting one for your own garden, and this is where I got my inspiration from. So these are the roses that I'm going to show you how to make today. They're so pretty, really delicate looking and really realistic looking as well. So I'll show you how to make these. Of course, the most long-winded and time-consuming part of this is actually cutting out of the petals, because each one is individually cut out. You could probably do it on your Cricut, but I think it's going to be just the same time really by the time you've put the crepe paper on the mat and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to do it manually with a pair of scissors today, and I'm going to show you now how to do that. The first thing that you're going to need to do is get a cotton ball, and this is a 20mm cotton ball. It has a hole in the bottom already, because what we're going to do is glue our wire into there. I'm just using a floral wire. This is from Hobbycraft, and it comes on a little reel like this. It wasn't very expensive. I'm not sure what the gauge of it is, to be honest. I can find out and put that in the description for you. And it's just plain silver. I folded it over so it's doubly as thick, so it gives a bit more stability. You can get actual floral wire stems that are green already, but this is just what I had on hand, so I didn't want to buy any more. So I've just got my glue gun here, and I'm just going to pop some glue in the hole that's already on the cotton ball, and then I'm going to stick my wire into there and hold it straight. So just pop your wire into the ball. You can also use polystyrene balls if you've got them, or if you haven't got access to any sort of pre-formed ball, you can always get some tissue paper and ball it up and use that. And this is just what we use to form the bud underneath the rose. So I'm going to leave that to dry now. It should stay exactly where it is. I've decided I'm going to use this bright pink crepe paper for this rose. So first of all we need to get a circle template, and for this I've just drawn around the centre of my floral wire. And the size of this is 5 centimetres across. So we need one circle. All I'm going to do is just cut around my circle. This is quite a generous size actually for what we're going to do with it, but it's nice to have the extra in case we need it. Okay, and the first thing we need to do with this, because we're going to put this around the ball to make the centre of the rose, we need to get our thumbs on the middle, pull the stretch in the crepe paper and just pull it apart, and you can see it's created a sort of natural round because that's where we're going to put the ball. Okay, so just give it a nice stretch, and then we can get the ball, pop it in the middle like that, and then what you'll need to do is you'll pull this down to here, and that bit gets glued underneath, and then we'll pull this bit around as well. So then it creates like a budded look. Okay, so I've just got my glue gun ready again. So I'm going to now just lift open this, and I'm going to pop the glue on here. I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of glue on here, and then I'll put my paper back on. Okay, and I will pull that down and pull around. So we've now got a really nice budded look. Okay, and I just need to then glue this bit here in place. Be careful that you don't burn yourself. I am actually using hot glue because I can't find my cool glue gun. Just hold it in place for a couple of seconds until it's dry, and there we have the first part of our flower. The next step for us is to now cut out all of the petals. So we need to cut out 5 of each of these 3 sizes, and what I like to do is get my petal and I put it on here, and then I fold over so it's going to cut out 2 at a time. I'm just going to cut this off here. It's very important now when you are cutting out your petals, this is obviously going to be the top of the petal where we stretch it, so the grain of the crepe paper must be running vertically down your petal. So just make sure that you don't cut it out like that, because you won't be able to stretch your petal very easily that way. And I know as a crafter it is our natural instinct to try and save as much of our materials as we can, and not use quite so much, but with this you have got to keep them all the same way around. I know I've looked at it a couple of times and thought I will be able to turn my petal around and cut it out on another part of the flower, but sorry, on another part of the paper, but I won't be able to actually use them then, so it's a bit pointless. So we just need to cut out 5 of each petal, and then we'll be ready. So I'm just going to do that now. Okay, so here are all of our flower petals. So of course we're going to start off with the smallest ones, and what we need to do now is curl and stretch the crepe paper. So I've just got a small Cricut scraper that I'm going to use to help me with this, and I'm just going to use this edge of it to do the stretching on the paper. So just grab your first petal, and all you want to do is just gently stretch it out and sort of curl it around the scraper, and you'll notice that it curls. And just keep doing that. You can stretch them out, manipulate them however you like, and so you can see the yellow one is the real one and the pink one is the paper one, and they look really similar. So that's what we're going to do. Another thing that I like to do is just put my fingers either side of the centre and just twist slightly, and it just gives it that real natural look. I also like to curl the bottom of the petal out slightly like that, because it makes it easier to stick it on to the bottom of the flower when we're putting it together. So I'm just going to curl some more of these up now, and you can stretch these out and curl them out however you want them to be. It's your flower, you don't need to worry about how it looks to other people if you like it. As you can see, the grain of the crepe is straight down the flower petal as well, like I said earlier. And that the reason for that now you can see, so that we can stretch everything out and curl it out how we want it to be. You can use your fingers as well if you want to. You can also use the backs of your scissors if you haven't got a Cricut scraper, or you can actually buy these and they call them paper curlers, but it's exactly the same thing really as a Cricut scraper. Here are all our petals all curled and ready to go, so now it's time to assemble. Right then, so we've got our bud centerpiece, and we're going to start off with the smallest petal first. I'm just going to move all of the others out of the way so we don't get mixed up. And what we want to do is glue these on to here, like this. So then it creates this natural curl around the ball that we've got inside the first part of the crepe paper. So let's grab the glue gun and put a blob of glue. Don't need to use too much glue. Okay, and we're going to just place it about halfway up the ball, so it's just a little bit above the top of the bud. And okay, so we just keep doing that. So with the next one, we'll pop it on. There we go. Okay, so that'll go on there, and it'll layer over the top very slightly. So let's do that. I always tend to put my petals on the right hand side, so the next one will be to the right of this petal, and I'll come around afterwards and glue down the bits that aren't quite glued down. I always end up with loads of bits of stringy glue on me as well. Just be really careful that you don't burn yourself on your glue gun. So again, I'm on the right hand side. There you go. I like to add little bits in as well. When I've come to the end of making the flower, I can see there's a few gaps and stuff that on a real rose wouldn't be there. Okay, so that's our first layer, and then we can go around and we can just glue down the bits that are sticking up a little bit if you don't like it to look like that, but if you like the way it looks, you can leave it. So I just want to put a little bit of glue in there. This does help a little bit with the structure as well. Maybe my first petal was a tiny bit too high, but it doesn't matter because it's based on a natural thing, so it's going to be different every single time you make one, and that's exactly how it is in nature. I find it easier to do this afterwards instead of trying to do it all at the same time. So that's the first row. Let's get the medium-sized petals now. Here they are. So again, I'm going to just curl out the bottoms of these ones so it gives me a definite placement point. Can you see that there? Okay, so now we want to stick these on. So let's get some more glue. There we go. And then we're just going to place that one. There we go. I just want to tuck now my last petal onto my first one that I've put down, so I'm just going to pop a bit of glue there and just tuck those together with each other and just hold that till it sets. There is our second layer. Can you see all the little strings of glue? We can get that off afterwards, so don't worry too much if you've got glue strings and bits hanging around when you're doing it. So now we've got our big petals. This is the last ones to put on. Again, I've just curled out the edge so that it's easy to pop onto the flower. A couple of these look a bit of a funny shape now that I've stretched them out, so I might adjust them a little bit. Right, so we're ready to pop these on. So let's pop the glue on again. So here is our rose. Then we've just got one more to put here in this little gap. Just pop the glue on the end and just stick that one over the two. Okay, let's just go around and pop some glue bits on where we need to finish off. One of the good things about having gel nails is that I can use them to press the hot glue together. So there is our rose. Okay, so now we need to pop the little green bits on the bottom, which I'll show you on here. So we've got to make these little green pieces to go on the bottom, and all I do to make those is just get a really small strip of crepe and I fold it, grab my scissors and just cut a really small slither. Okay, and then when it opens out it looks like a little petal. So we need 5 of those again, so I've got 5 of those, and I'm going to again stretch them out using my scraper tool. So all we want to do is hold it in one hand and then just pull them out so that they curl round like that. We do that with each of them. I have purposely made these slightly different sizes because I think that's how they would be on a real rose plant. Okay, so they're nicely curled and they look like little leaves. I've actually got 6 here, so I might use 6 on this flower. So this is the bottom of our rose now. We need to cover it up to make it look a little bit more pretty and more aesthetically pleasing. So what we are going to do is cover this area with floor tape. My floor tape is really old and floral tape is designed to stick to itself, however mine has stopped sticking to itself, so I may need to use some glue, but we will see. So I'm just putting some floral tape on now to cover up the join between the pink crepe paper and the wire. So we're just going to cover the wire in this floral tape, and all we need to do is just wind it around itself like this. Pull it really tightly, and it is designed to stick to itself, but my floral tape is really old and it's not as sticky as it should have been when it was new. There we go. We'll just stick the floral tape on. Now we're going to stick on our little bits of greenery, and all you're going to want to do is just pop it on there. We can always manipulate these however we want them to sit. There we go. I'm going to definitely need to use the 6 that I've cut out. Good job I accidentally cut out another one. It was obviously meant to be. I've got one more gap there, so that's perfect. Okay, just pop our last one on there. So what I like to do now is just look at the top of it, and round here I can see it's quite open, and I like it to look a little bit more flowery, I guess, with a few more petals. So what I've been doing with this one and the other pink one, so I just cut out a couple of freehand petals, and they only need to be small. Nothing too gigantic, and just give them a little stretch out. It's called straight edge. Flowers don't have straight edges. I'm just going to give it a little curl out, and then what I do is cut the bottom off. Get a teeny bit of glue and pop it on the bottom there, and then where my gap is I just pop it in like that, so it fills up the gap. And I'm just going to do that again on the other side. I'm going to use an even smaller petal this time, so I'm just going to cut out something quite tiny. Okay, so a really small little tiny teardrop shape, and then we'll just pull it back on itself like that. Little tiny bit of glue on the end, because this petal is so small, we won't even need to cut the end off. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop it in there. It just makes it look even more realistic. Maybe one more, I think. Oh, another one, another freehand petal. Again, you don't need to be overly accurate with your shapes and stuff, because it's based on a natural thing. Again, pop a little bit of glue on, and then we'll just stick that one in this side. There we go. Get rid of these few bits of glue strings. Once you've done, you can always pull your flowers out again, so you can stretch that out a little bit more, give it a little twist in your fingers. This paper doesn't rip very easily at all, so it's going to look really great. And there is our finished flower. Here's the 3 flowers that I've made this morning. This is the pink one we've just made together, and obviously the pale pink and the yellow to complement. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I have enjoyed making these beautiful flowers. I would love to see you again for the next one, so don't forget to subscribe, Drop me a comment down below if you've got any questions and hit that like button. Have a great week and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again for the next one. Bye!